Hey guys, so I'm creating this video because DAX does not have built-in weekly time intelligence functions. So when you need to do week over week or weekly time intelligence calculations in DAX, you have to write your own measures. There's no function that goes for that calculates the sales for the previous week, for example, or for a certain week. Go month, for the previous year, for the previous quarter, but there's no like previous week in DAX. There's no native function that supports that. So this is why I'm creating this video, and this video will hopefully be your ultimate guide to weekly time intelligence or week over week calculations in DAX. So in this video, we're going to create 5 measures, and we're going to go through the logic for creating these 5 measures, and hopefully you're going to be able to get ideas about how to write your own measures. They are 5 measures that are used quite commonly, so you should be able to, after seeing the logic, you should be able to write any measure that you want, pretty much any measure that you want that does weekly time intelligence. So the 5 measures we're going to write today are the sales for the previous week. So you're going to be able to compare the sales for this week to the sales of the previous week. We're also going to write the sales for the same day of the last week. So you're going to be able to compare the sales for Monday for a particular week, for the 28th week, for example, to the sales of Monday for the 27th week of the year, for example. And the third measure is the sales for the same day, same week, last month. So you're going to be able to compare the sales for the Monday of the first week of April, for example, to the sales for the Monday of the first week of March. And the fourth measure is going to be the sales for the same week of the last year. So you're going to be able to compare the sales for the fourth week of this year, for example, to the sales of the fourth week of the last year. And the fifth measure and the last measure is going to be the sales for the same day, same week last year. So you're going to be able to compare the sales, for example, for Monday of the third week of this year to the sales of Monday of the third week of the last year, for example. So I'm hoping that this video would be very useful for you. It should serve as your ultimate guide for weekly time intelligence calculations or week over week calculations in DAX. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, so here is our data model that we've got here. We've got a customers table, a calendar table, and a territories table, and a products table, and they are all connected to a sales table via a one-to-many relationship. Of course, our main table that we're going to work today with is the calendar table, since we're going to be doing weekly time intelligence calculations. So before we start working and creating the measures, we need to create some supporting columns here on the calendar table. So we're gonna create some extra columns here on our calendar table, and the best way to do it and the easiest way is actually via Power Query. So I'm gonna go to Edit Queries here, and I'm gonna go to my calendar table, and let's add some extra columns to our calendar table. So the first column we're gonna add here is the week of month. So I'm gonna go here to Add Column. I'm going to create a custom column here, and I'm going to call it week of month. So this is going to tell us which week is that week in the month. So is it the first or second or third or fourth, or some months might have 5 weeks even. So we're going to write date.week of month here. So we're going to use this function here, and we're going to put the date as the first argument, the date column, and the second argument is going to be when our week starts. So our week is going to start on Sunday. You can change it, of course. I'm going to write here day.Sunday, but if it starts on Monday, for example, you can put it as day.Monday and so on and so forth. And I'm going to click OK here, and as you can see here, we managed to get the week of month, and I'm going to make the format for this column. I'm going to make it a whole number. So here's the first column that we created. By the way, you can also create this column by going to the add column here, and when you select the date column, you could go to date and then week, and then you could select week of month. So that's another way to do it, and it's a quicker way. However, with this way, you're not able to control when your week starts. You know, that day.Sunday argument, you're not able to control it. It's going to actually insert it depending on the culture. So it's depending on like the date settings on your computer, but you're not able to control it 100%. So this is why it's better to do it with the formula. So that's another way to do it, just a heads up. And with this way, by the way, you can do a lot of other columns, but you can also do them with the functions, and with the functions you get more control. Okay, let's insert another column here, which is the week of year. So we're going to do the same again. Go to add column, custom column, and this is going to give us the week of year. So which week is that week in the year? You know, a year can have 52 or 53 weeks. So I'm going to write here date.week of year. That's another function we're going to use here. We're going to put the first column here is the date, and the second argument here is going to be the first day of the week, which in my case here is going to be day.Sunday, but you can change it to for the week to start on any day that you would like. And I'm going to click OK here. So this is going to give us which week is our week in the year weeks. So the number of for that particular week. And I'm going to change here the data type to be a whole number as well. And now I'm going to insert another column, which is the day of week. So I'm going to go again to add column, custom column, and the day of week is going to give us basically an integer that would tell us which day is that week. So the order of that day, and our week starts on a Sunday. So I'm going to write here date.day of week, and I'm going to go down and select it with tab, and I'm just going to put my date here, and I'm going to put day.Sunday as well. Our week starts on Sunday, but you can change it to any day that you would like, and I'm going to click OK here, and here is our day of week. So here it starts at 0 for Sundays, and then for Mondays it's 1, so it's from a 0 to 6. It's a 0 to 6 index basically. And I'm going to change the data type for that column as well to be a whole number. And another column here, the last column we're going to insert is the start of the week. So when our week starts, which date our week starts. So I'm going to go again to add column, custom column, and I'm just going to call this column here start of week. And I'm going to make it date.start of week, and I'm gonna put my date here. So it's gonna tell us when our week starts, and the starting day is a day.Sunday, but you can change it of course. And I'm gonna click OK here, and I'm gonna change the data type here to be a date, because this is a date. This would tell us which day our week that starts on a Sunday has started. Okay, so that's it. We've inserted our columns that are going to help us in our weekly in time intelligence calculations. I'm just going to press close and apply here, and there you go. Our columns are now there. Of course, we can change here the format for this column. If we don't like this format, we can change format here to date time. We can make the format just a normal day/month/year format. And that's it for the supporting columns that we're going to insert. And now we can start creating our measures. So I'm going to go here to my report view, and let's start creating our measures. Okay, so the first measure we're going to create here is the sales previous week measure. So let's start creating that measure. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click on new measure, and then I'm just going to name this sales previous week. And the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to capture the current year, because we're going to have a year slicer, right? So I'm going to capture the current year in a variable, and this is going to be if has one value. I'm going to use the has one value function instead of the selected value function, because the has one value function works in both PowerPivot and in Power BI, but the selected value function only works in Power BI. So this is why I'm using the has one value function, so that the code would be portable to PowerPivot as well if you need to do it in PowerPivot. So I'm just going to capture here. I'm going to do a check on the calendar year, and if it has only one value, then I'm going to get the values of the calendar year. Okay, so this is the result of true. It's going to be the values. I'm going to close my brackets, and so now I've managed to capture my current year, the current year selected in my slicer. So I'm going to insert a slicer after we finish working with this measure. And I'm going to capture also the current week. So the current week as well, I'm going to do the same test here. So I'm going to cheat a little bit here. And instead of the calendar year, I'm just going to use the week of year. So this is going to be the current week of year. So which week of year is that going to be out of the 52 or 53 weeks? So I've got a spelling error here. Week, so TBL calendar, week of year. Okay. So the current week of year here, and I'm just going to copy that here as well. And so here's my current week variable. And now I'm going to also create another variable for the last week for the previous year. So why do I need to capture the last week for the previous year? This is because if we're selecting, if we're on the first week of, let's say, 2002, okay, the first week of 2002 is going to be the week, at the beginning of January, the very first week. And we need to get the sales for the previous week. So that's going to be the last week in 2001, for example. Okay, so this is why I need to know which week was the last week in 2001, because a year can have 52 or 53 weeks. Sometimes it has 53 weeks. So we need to know the week number of the last week of the previous year. Okay, so I'm just going to name this variable last week PY or previous year. And it's going to be equal to I'm going to use the calculate function here, and I'm going to use the max function to get the maximum value of the week of year column. And I'm going to remove all filters on my calendar table. Okay. And I'm also going to put the calendar year to be equal to the current year minus 1. Current year minus 1. So I'm basically filtering the calendar table, okay, for only the values of the previous year, okay, and I'm taking the maximum value of the week of the year, which is going to be the last week, the very last week of that particular year of the previous year, okay. So this is going to be the last week of the previous year. And now I'm going to write my result, basically. So this is going to be my calculation for the previous week sales. Okay, so I will have two cases. In case I'm on the very first week of the year, then I need to capture the sales for the last week of the last year or of the previous year. So this is one case. This is the exceptional case. And in case I'm not on the first week of the year, then I will just capture the sales for the previous week. Okay? So let's write the exception first. If the current week is equal to 1, so I'm in the very first week of the year, okay? Then calculate the sales amount. Okay, so this is going to be I'm capturing the sales amount. Of course, I've got a sales amount measure created already. So I'm capturing the sales here for the previous week. So calculate the sales amount, and I'm going to remove all filters on the calendar table, and I'm going to set the week of year, TBL calendar week of year, to be equal to which one is going to be the last week of the previous year. So I'm going to set it to be equal, the week of year to be equal to the last week of the previous year. And I'm also going to set TBL calendar, the calendar year, to be, yes, you got it right, it's going to be the previous year. So that's current year minus 1, right? And I'm going to close my brackets. So this is basically the first calculate, which is the first argument here for the if. So if the current week is equal to 1, execute this calculate, And if it's not equal to 1, then what I want you to do is to do a calculate for the sales amount. And for that, I need you to do to remove all filters on the calendar table. And I need the week of year from the calendar table to be equal to the current week minus 1. So I want to go 1 week because we're not on the very first week. So I just want to go 1 week to the back, right? And I want to go to the calendar year and set it to be equal to the current year. Okay? So now I've closed here the second calculate, which is if we're not on the very first week. So if we're not on the very first week, we're going to go back 1 week, and we're also going to be still on the current year. And so we're going to calculate the sales amount for that. And I've closed my brackets here, and now I'm just going to return my result. Okay, so this should calculate the sales for the previous week. So let's just format our code first. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy my code here, and I can format it by going to daxformatter.com. So I'm gonna show you that on the screen. So if you go to daxformatter.com and paste your code here, and after pasting your code, you're just gonna click on format, and now you can see here that the code has been formatted now. And just formatting the code is just for easier readability, that's all. So this is a website created by the SQL BI guys to format the DAX code. So I've copied my code here. I'm just going to paste it now as a formatted code, and I'm just going to press enter. And now we can start testing our measure here. So I'm going to go here to my calendar table, and I can go to the week of year here. I can put the week of year here as a table, actually, on a table. And I'm going to ask it not to summarize. So here is the week of year. And I'm also going to put my year. So where is the calendar year? Here's the calendar year. I'm going to put that as a slicer. Okay, so that would be able to slice my calendar year here. So I'm just going to put it as a list here. And I'll be able to select any calendar year I want. And now let's put our sales amount. And let's put our sales previous week as well. And let's select any year. So now we don't have any year selected. So we can't, it cannot determine, where is the previous week. So I can actually select a year here, and now it's going to start working. So as you can see here, for the first week of the year of 2002, you can see here that the sales amount is the same as the sales previous week for the second week. So you can see here on the second week, the sales of the previous week is the same as the sales of the very first week of the year. Right, and you can see here the numbers, of the number for the sales previous week is the same as the sales amount on the previous week. So you can see here that the measure is working. And now I can also test that special case here when we are at the end of the year, or for the sales previous week for this one, for the very first week, 46,656. This should be the same as the sales amount of the last week of 2001. So you can see here, it's the last week of 2001, 46,656, the same number. So you can see here, our measure is working. And for that part here, when we don't have a year selected and you get a blank on the sales previous week, if your business requirements are to display the sales for the previous week, because this is basically here, the sales amount is the sales amount for all the weeks of all the years, or so all the first weeks, or all the weeks that are number 1 of all the years combined are 259,000. Okay, so this is the sales amount for all the week number 1, or all the weeks that are number 1 in all the years combined. Okay, and there are no sales previous week. So maybe your business requirements are to maybe show, please select a year here. So we can edit the formula here to say if this variable here, the current year, is equal to blank, then please select a year. Okay, so you can edit the formula this way. Otherwise, do this, but we're just going to add an extra bracket here because we added an extra if, and we're going to press enter. So now when you don't have a year selected, it will say please select a year. So you can edit the formula, shape it whatever way you want, according to your business requirements. Okay, so now we've calculated the sales for the previous week. Okay, so now we're going to calculate the sales for the same day in the last week. So let's say you have sales that happen on each day of the week, Monday, Tuesday. You want to compare the sales for your Monday to the sales for the previous Monday, and the sales for Tuesday to the sales for the previous Tuesday, and so on and so forth. So you would want to create a measure for the sales of the same day in the last week. So we're going to do that now. So here, I'm just going to create a measure here, sales same day last week. Okay, and in that measure, the first variable we're going to create here is the current day of week. So which day of week are we on at the moment? Okay, is it Sunday, Monday? But we're going to refer to that through the day of week column, which has the indexing that starts at 0 for Sunday and 1 for Monday, and so on and so forth. So if has one value of the TBL calendar of the day of week. Okay, so if has one value day of week on the TBL calendar, then what we want to do is to get the values here of the TBL calendar day of week, and we're just going to close our bracket here. So here is the current day of week. We will also need some other variables that we had on the previous measure. So I'm actually going to cheat here a little bit, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab over the current year and the current week and the last week for the previous year, which have the same formulas as the ones that we explained here on the sales previous week measure. So I just don't want to waste your time with rewriting these variables again. And now we can write our result variable here, which is going to account also for the case if the current week is equal to the very first week of the year, then we want to get the sales for the same day of the last week of the previous year, right? Okay, so we will start with the exceptional case here, which is being on the very first week of the year. So if the current week is equal to 1, then what I want to do is to calculate the sales amount, and I'm gonna remove all the filters on the TBL calendar table, and I want to have it such that the calendar year is equal to the current year minus 1, right? Because we are on the very first week of the year. So in order to go to the previous week, we want to go to the previous year as well. So we want to set the calendar year to current year minus 1, and we want to set the week of year to be equal to the last week previous year, right? The last week of the previous year. And we want to set as well the day of the week to be equal to this current day of the week that we have currently. Okay, so this is the first case here when we have the current week is equal to 1. Okay, so the other case, which is basically the generic case, we're going to do a calculate, and we're going to calculate the sales amount and we're going to remove all the filters on the TBL calendar table. We're going to set the calendar year to be equal to the current year. Okay, because this is the generic case. We are not on the very first week of the year, so we are on any other week. So we can just simply go back 1 week, and we want to set the week of year as well here to be equal to the current week minus 1. So we want to go back 1 week. So same year, 1 week back, and we want to set the day of the week to be equal to the current day of week. right? And I'm gonna close the bracket here for the calculate, and I'm gonna also close the bracket here for the if function, and then I'm just gonna return the result. Okay, so now let's format our measure. Okay, so now we've formatted our measure here, and we're gonna press enter, and let's start testing our measure here. Sales same day last week. So here I'm gonna remove the week of year column on this table, and I'm actually gonna add the date column, because the date column is going to show us the dates, so we're going to get the same day last week as well. But I don't want the date hierarchy, I just want the date, right? And I want the date to be on the left. And I'm also going to add actually the day name as well, so Sunday, Monday, whatever, so that it would be easier for us to see the results better. And so here is the date, here's the day name, here's the sales amount. Let's add the sales same day last week or previous week. Okay, so this should give us the sales for the same day on the previous week. So you can see here on this week that started on the 1st of July, you can see here on the 8th of July, which is the following week, okay, which is also a Sunday, we're getting the same value here, as you can see here, right? So, and you can see here, this value here for the Monday is the same for the Monday on the sales same day last week for the following week, right? And then here is the 15,012 and so on and so forth. So you can see here, we're getting this same value here, right? And let's also format this measure here. Let's format it actually as a currency, because this is sales, right? And we should have done that for the sales previous week measure as well. So let's do it too. Sales previous week. Let's just format this as a currency too, right? And no decimal places. Okay, and let's do the same for this one too. No decimal places. So as you can see here, and also let's also do this for the sales amount. So I forgot to format these. Let's do 0 decimal places. So as you can see here, we're getting the same number, as you can see here. I'm just going to put 0 decimal places. So we're getting the same number here as numbers as you can see here. And let's test the case of the end of the year. So if we are at the very first week of a year where we've got a previous year, so we won't test on 2001. We're actually going to test in 2002, because the very first year was 2001. There was no previous year to 2001. So as you can see here, for this is the very first week. But because on the last week, let's actually add the week of year column as well. So as you can see here, on the last week of 2001, which is the 53rd week, there is only a Sunday and a Monday. Okay, so this is why you won't see any values on week number 1 for 2002, because there are no Sundays and Mondays for week number 1. There is only a Saturday, Friday, Thursday. There's no Monday for week number 1, so this is why you can't see any values here. But as you can see here now, for example, for Monday, for Tuesday, the second week, as you can see here, we're getting the same value as the first week in 2002 here, as you can see. So in our case here, for the year 2002, at the beginning of the year, we don't have any values, so our exception has not been applied, because we couldn't apply the exception, because the days here on the very last week of 2001 did not come on the first week of 2002. So the days for the last week for 2001 were Sunday and Monday, but on the very first week of 2002, there was only a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There was no Sunday or Monday. So this is why this has not been applied. We could check maybe for 2002 and 2003 here, if we're lucky enough, but this also has not been applied, because there was no room to apply that rule to Sunday, Monday, Tuesday on the 53rd week. There's no Sunday, Monday, Tuesday here on the first week of 2003. So anyways, we've accounted for that exception on our code, and it's not been applied here because there's no room to apply it, but we've accounted for that exception on our code if it ever happens, and our code is ready to accommodate that. Otherwise, it displays a blank, but you can edit the code to display anything that you want according to your business requirements, as we've shown on the previous measure. Okay, so this is the sales same day last week. So this way, because in the retail industry, for example, or the call center industry, the day of the week, every day of the week has a certain pattern on sales or calls in a call center. So it's not beneficial for you to compare a Sunday to a Monday. You gotta compare apples to apples. So compare a Sunday to a Sunday, a Monday to a Monday, a Tuesday to a Tuesday. So in some industries, it's very important to do that, and we've explained here in using DAX how to do it. Okay guys, so now we're gonna create the measure, which is the sales same day, same week last month. So this is gonna compare the sales, for example, for the Monday of the first week of this month to the Monday of the first week of the previous month. Okay, so let's see that measure. So I'm gonna create a new measure here, new measure, and I'm gonna name it sales same day, same week last month. Okay, and for that particular measure, we're gonna get first of all the current day of the week. Okay, so I'm actually just gonna cheat a little bit here, and I'm just gonna copy it. We're also gonna get the current year as well on that measure. So I'm just gonna copy it and paste it here. So here's the current year, and we're also gonna get the current month. Okay, so which month are we on? So the current month is gonna be if has one value for the TBL calendar month number, then give me the values of the TBL calendar month number. Okay, and then we close our brackets here. So now we're getting the current month. So this is going to give us the month number for the current month. So if it's July, it's going to be 7, August 8, and so on and so forth. And we're also going to get the current week of month. Okay, so we created a column which is the week of month. So we're gonna get the current week of month, which is also if has one value TBL calendar week of month. Then give me the values of TBL calendar week of month. Okay, I'm gonna close my brackets here. And also to account for the case when we are in the very first month of the year. So if we are in January, we would want to go back to December, right? So if we want to compare the sales on Monday of the first week of January, we want to compare it to the sales of the Monday of the first week of December, for example. Okay, so we want to go back 1 month. So we're going to create another variable here that is last month. And this variable is going to be created through an if statement, actually. So if the current month is equal to 1, then give me a 12. All right, then the last month is going to be a 12. Otherwise, it's current month minus 1. Okay, so you can actually write an if statement, or you can write a variable as an if statement here. Okay, so we've done that. Now let's create our result variable here. So the result is equal to if the current month is equal to 1. So we're going to account for that special case here when the current month is equal to 1. What do we want to do? We want to calculate the sales amount, and we want to remove all filters on the calendar table, and we want to go for the week of month. So TBL calendar week of month. We want to go for that being equal to the current week of month, right? So we want to search for this same week of month, right? So if it's the first week of January, then we want to go for the first week of December. We want to go for the day of week as well. Day of week to be equal to the current day of week variable, right? So we want to go for the same day of week as well. We want to go for the calendar year to be equal to the current year minus 1. Current year minus 1. So we're going to go for the previous year because this is the exceptional case. Remember, this is the exceptional case when we are in January. Okay. So we want to go to December last year to be our calendar. And for the month number as well, we want to go for the month number to be equal to last month, the last month variable here. Okay. And so we're going to close the first calculate. So we've written the exceptional case. So let's do the regular case. So the regular case with no exception is that we're going to calculate the sales amount and we're going to remove all the filters on the calendar table, and we're going to go for the week of month to be equal to the current week of month. And we're going to go for the day of week to be equal to the current day of week. And the calendar year to be equal to the current year. And we're going to go for the month number to be equal to the last month variable. And the last month variable, of course, is going to determine the value according to the if statement that it has. And we're just going to close the calculate here and then close the if as well. And then we're going to return our result. Okay, so now we're going to format our measure. All right, so I've formatted my code. I'll press enter. And here is the sales, same day, same week, last month measure. And now let's test that measure. So same day, same week, last month. So I'm going to test it here on that table. On this table, we've got the date, we've got the day name, we've got the month, and we've got the week of month. So for example, if we test for the first week of July, the Sunday on the first week of July was 14,477. The Monday was 13,932. So if we go to the first week of August, okay, we don't have a Sunday or a Monday. We can go for Tuesday. Let's see here. We don't have a Tuesday. We have a Wednesday, for example. Wednesday for the first week of July, 7,157. And as you can see here, it's the same amount, but it's just not rounded. So we just gotta give this some formatting too. We gotta give this currency with 0 decimal places, and you'll see the exact same number. So after rounding the measure here, sales, same day, same week, last month, it should give us the same amount. It's not been rounded for some reason. Sometimes it's a bit buggy here in Power BI. I have to do it multiple times. So as you can see here, sales for Wednesday of the first week of August, 7,157 for the sales same day, same week last month. So it's equal to the sales for the Wednesday of the first week of July, right? 7,157. And now for the Thursday is 15,012. So this should be the amount for the Thursday of the first week of July, and it's the same amount. So our measure is actually working. Okay? And we can also go to the end of the year as well to make sure that it's working. So it should be working here. If we have a 5th week in January, we have a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So as you can see here, for example, the 5th week here in December. So Sunday, 25,747. So here we should get the same amount, 25,747. So our measure is working, and it is accounting for that exception when we're going into a new year, when we are in January. So it is working 100%. Okay, so this is the sales same day, same week, last month. Okay, so now we're going to create another measure, which is the sales for the same week in the last year. This is a relatively easy measure, actually. So I'm going to create a new measure here, sales same week last year. Okay, so it's going to give us the sales for the same week last year. I'm going to cheat here and paste my current year and current week variables, right? So I'm not going to type them again. So we're going to extract the current year and the current week, and then we're going to have our result to be equal to the calculation of the sales amount here. So we're going to calculate the sales amount for all TBL calendar, and we're going to go for the week of year, TBL calendar week of year to be equal to the current week, and the calendar year, TBL calendar year to be equal to the current year minus 1. So we want to get for the same week for the previous year, right? And we want to return the result. Return result here. And that's it. So this is our measure here, and let's just format it. And now it's been formatted. I'm going to press enter here, and let's test our measure, sales same week last year. And I'm actually also going to give it a format just before we forget. So I'm going to format it as a currency 0 and press enter. Okay, now it's been formatted, and sales same week last year. So as you can see here, there are no results because we don't have a year selected. But if we select a particular year here, but we want to select 2002 because in 2001 there was no last year. So in 2002, so actually 2002 started yielding results from the 27th week. That's because 2001 did not have any results except from the 27th week. So 2001 started in July. Our sales or our store started in July 2001, around the July 2001. So there were no results before the 27th week. So as you can see here, we're getting the same number here. Sales same week last year, starting from the 27th week. So our store started on the 27th week of the year 2001. So this is why we're only getting the results of the same week last year starting for the 27th. So as you can see here, same number. And then the following week, 99,974, which is the 28th week of 2001 as well, 99,974. So our measure is working perfectly fine. Okay, guys, so now we're going to create the sales same day, same week last year measure. And this is going to enable us to compare, for example, the sales for the Monday of the third week of this year to the sales of the Monday of the third week of the last year, for example. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to create here the measure. So we're going to create a new measure. We're going to call it sales same week, same day last year. Okay, and for that, I'm actually going to copy here some variables. I'm going to cheat here, copy and paste some variables here because we've gone through these variables before. We're going to extract the current year, current week, and current weekday as well. Okay, so we've gone through these variables before, and the result is going to be equal to calculate of the sales amount. Okay, we're going to calculate the sales amount and we're going to move all filters on the TBL calendar. We're going to go for week of year to be equal to, here's a small typing error here. Okay, so we're going to go for the week of year to be equal to the current week. And we're going to go for the calendar year to be equal to the current year minus 1. So that's for the previous year, right? Current year minus 1. And we're going to go for day of week. For the day of week here, to be equal to the current weekday. Okay, and we're going to close our brackets for the calculate, and we're going to return our results here, and we're going to press enter, and let's also give it some formatting here. So I'm going to give it United States and 0 decimal places. And I'm just going to put my measure here. So I've got the day name here, whether it's a Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and the week of the year. And as you can see here, we have 2001 selected. So there was no previous year for 2001, so we can't do that one. We're going to go for 2002. And let's compare now the sales. So because the 2001 year started on the 27th week here. So the Friday for the 27th week. So this is, for a particular day, Friday for the 27th week of the year 2001, it should be 14,313. We're currently on 2002, so here for same week, same day last year, 14,313. This is on the Friday of the 27th week. So if we go to 2001, and for the 27th week, for the Friday on the 27th week, it's the same amount, 14,313, as you can see here. And, for the Saturday of the 27th week, for the Monday, for Friday, Saturday. So we don't have the day names here sorted. We can, if you've ever faced this problem, so I forgot to sort them, you can sort them by column. So I can go here to the day name and I can sort by the day of week, actually, because the day of week is a number, so I can sort that by that number so that it would be sorted properly. So we'd have Friday, Saturday, Sunday as usual. So as you can see here, Sunday for 27th week, for example, it should be in 2001 14,477, as you can see here. Sunday of the 27th week, 14,477. So as you can see here, it is working absolutely fine. Our measure is getting the correct numbers. Okay, so that's it, guys, for we've created 5 measures here on this video, and I hope that was useful for you. I think that covers weekly time intelligence calculations to a great extent here in DAX. The objective here of this video is not to cover each and every measure that you could ever write for weekly time intelligence calculations in DAX, but it's actually to give you the logic and to show you the logic and how you need to think in DAX in order to solve your problems, how you can think. These are examples of how you can think in DAX in order to solve your problems, and I believe this has given you a pretty good idea about how to think about weekly time intelligence calculations, and you can go and make other calculations according to your business requirements as well. So thank you guys for watching the video. I believe this video is quite a comprehensive guide to week over week or weekly DAX time intelligence calculations, and through the logic that we've gone through, I believe that you're able to build your own weekly calculations in case they are something different from the measures that we explained on the video. So please, if you found the video helpful, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, as I'll be pushing more content in the near future as well. And also, please make sure to subscribe to my newsletter. The link is below in the description, because I will be creating courses about DAX in PowerPivot and Power BI as well. So if you need to learn DAX in depth, I can help you with that with my courses. I'm still creating those courses, but I will let you know, and you will get an early bird discount when my courses are released if you are subscribed to my newsletter. So make sure to subscribe to my newsletter through the link below in the description. So thank you guys again for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.